It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're a bowl bit of leg spin.
Yeah.
You got a bit of tips for anyone out there? So anyone who want to go in the backyard cricket and throw,
if I'm honest,
roll the arm
with leg spin, don't do it. Don't do it.
There it is. Give up.
Don't do it to yourself. Nah.
Because it is. You were saying cricketers are so fanatic. It's almost like you're like a golfer. You're so everything is over. Like you swing, you're like, oh, everything needs to be a millimeter. And it's also even more for leg spin because it's so hard, isn't it?
Well, I only started bowling probably 5 years ago now. Again, it actually started with that whole thing of WA needs a spinner, and I wasn't really bowling at that point.
Okay.
It's like, I'm learning leg spin, why not? And I'm not sure how I got through those first few years. It is one of the hardest skills in any sport. Like, it's just one thing slightly out, and I've never seen, like, it's very rare you see, like, you can be bowling absolute Shane Warne, drift, spin, bounce, and feel amazing, and the very next day the ball's bouncing twice, and it's just like, what on earth is going on here?
Yeah.
But it teaches you some good resilience. And,
I bet.
and like every skill, it's basics are best. Like, drill your basics, do your basics. Yes, it's harder to learn those basics. But at the end of the day, like,
I bet
that's what makes you good.
Picking up late is almost harder as well. On the bowling? Not really?
A bit of both. Like, I thought harder initially, but actually, because I had some basic skills already, it helped.
Okay.
So I probably learnt a lot faster.
It's all on the wrist, yeah? Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's so many things. It drives me balmy. But the good thing is, like, the reason it's great is because you get such a good, when you are on, you're taking wickets. So I always say an off spinner's good ball doesn't take, like, it might take a wicket. A leg spinner's good ball almost always does.
Why is that? Because from a right-handed batter, it's going away from the bat a little bit?
Yeah, one aspect, but also you get more revs on the ball. So by using your wrist, wrist, like as a finger spinner, yes, you use your body, but the final thing is literally your fingers if you look at how small your fingers are. Whereas a wrist spinner, you're engaging your slings a lot better. You're engaging more muscle, so you get more revs on the ball.
Interesting.
It's just harder to control.
Yes.
So that it just does more. And then wrist spin, you can turn it both ways. You can bowl slide. There's so many variations. It's so much more fun, but it is more difficult.
Yeah, the wrong end. You got the wrong end? Yeah, the flipper?
Yeah, no flipper. That's a tough one. I actually bowl more wrong ends than I do leggies. I'm trying to get my leggy going properly. So naturally, probably because I came from medium pace, I bowl wrong ends. And then, leggies, I'm working on my leggy. It's getting there. Yeah. So it's to get the one actually turning away. The odd one slides on. I have no idea why, but my theory is that if I don't know what's happening, the batter's not. So
yep, even better. Now, as a batter as well, take away the mental stuff we spoke about.
Yep.
What's kind of the technical aspect of batting that probably someone needs to drill hard on to improve their batting?
Watch the ball would be a start. It's amazing how hard it is. It's amazing. Like, it's simple, but it's amazing how many times you forget to actually watch the ball. Like, it sounds so dumb. Yeah. But you'd be like, well, were you watching the ball? It's like, yeah, you kind of generally be like, no, were you actually watching the ball? Like, other than that, I reckon everyone's so different.
When you watch the ball, are you saying watch the ball straight away, like from as soon as the bowler's coming in, like you're watching it from the hand?
Well, you can't actually see every bit of the ball. So if you track, you only see so 20 meters.
Yep.
Your eyes can actually only see the ball at 4 points. Like, so if they put like eye trackers and stuff in terms of actual research, you can see it kind of as it's released and you see it at about 4 points until it gets to you. So you can't actually, in theory, watch the ball all the way onto your bat.
Yep.
But it's more so like I'm big on watching the release. So like watching it out of the hand, and then I know I'll just react, because if I see it out of the hand, then I know I'm going to the line, going towards the line of the ball.
Yep.
And if you're going, like, if you wanted to sort of one technical point, it would be going towards the line of the ball, because then all your energy is going through the ball. Whereas if you see, and I'm talking about your weight, so it's not like the cricket snuffs off talking about footwork and stuff, but your footwork's not as important. It's about getting your weight into the ball or away from the ball. And if like
that's a good point.
Yeah,
because you can see now modern cricket, like T20s, there's not a lot of footwork really. They probably play back, give a little bit more time, and then it's all about body weight through the ball.
Yeah. It's a bit more baseball-like. So Glenn Maxwell's completely open, AB de Villiers completely open, but they're stable and still. So they're really still when the ball's released, which helps you watch the ball. I often say to young kids, you never read a book doing this with your head, shaking your head everywhere, do you? So it's like when you're reading a book, your head's still.
Yeah. That's so true.
There you go. So if your head's still and your eyes are still, then you can watch the ball, and then it's about transferring your weight into the ball, and that's batting in a nutshell. So everyone talks about feet and hands and all sorts of stuff, which can be important, but like for me, if you're still, which allows you to then watch the ball, and then you're transferring your energy into it, however you do that, because everyone's different, then you're going a long way to making some runs.
Do you find swing, so what the hardest ball to face, in swinger, out swinger?
For me?
Oh, yes.
For me, probably in swinger.
Yeah. Is it because that obviously you see it and then it changes?
Yeah, well, you just get less room to swing. So with an out swinger, everyone's different. So for me, I like width. And so if I've got width to swing my hands, I can release my hands through the ball. So if it's out swing, you can obviously have more width. Whereas if the ball's coming back into you, all of a sudden you have to be quite compact. And generally an in-swing is going to challenge the batter's defence a bit more in the women's game, because we don't have as much pace and bounce. Whereas, and the white ball doesn't swing that much anyway. So, so the more you can challenge the stumps, the better. Okay. Whereas red ball will swing for longer. Yep. So we don't really have to battle. The hardest part with women's cricket is the lack of pace. So I find men's cricket a lot easier. Because
the ball comes on.
Because the ball comes on. So you get away with so much and you can just time it and it goes. Whereas women's cricket, you've got to find a way to create pace. And to create pace, often it brings... So if you're swinging hard, it's like golf. You know when you swing really hard and it goes nowhere?
I've no trouble. That's my trouble in golf.
So, whereas when you're nice and compact and all of a sudden it goes beautifully.
Yeah.
So it's easier to be compact when you're not swinging as hard. So in men's cricket, because the ball's coming on fast, so you don't have to swing as hard.
That's why I say them a graceful shot is one they don't even like. It doesn't look like they're trying,
But with women's cricket, because there's less pace on the ball, you have to actually swing. Like you can't just 90% of the time you can't just touch it. So it brings in a lot more challenges in that aspect. But then we don't have to deal with 140 plus coming at your head, which is an entirely different challenge. So they're both challenging, but as a general rule, I'd much prefer to play men's grade cricket. I'd never be able to play men's first class cricket way too fast.
Okay.
But like in terms of grade cricket, much prefer playing men's and women's.
Yeah, right. There you go. That's interesting. What's the one ball that's going to get you out? The classic.
The classic, the way I get out every time, it's actually an issue, is I got it out the same way in the WNCL final this year. Is I always get caught at point. Chasing a wide one. It's my strength and my weakness.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you put it away when you score so many runs off it, but also keep getting out to it. So I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, right. That's crazy because you're saying that like play freely, play the game, play your style, and then whenever you see it and you light up and it gets you out, that would play players on your mind
absolutely
a lot.
So it's being smart with it. So it's not it's not entirely black and white that I'm just going to swing at everything wide because that's what I'm good at. It's like, hang on, what's going wrong with the ones that go for runs as opposed to the ones that get caught? Yeah. So what's the difference? And generally it'll almost always be I'm trying to hit it too hard or I've actually chased it as in it's too wide. I should probably just let it go because it's probably either going to be a wide or it's not in my game, and trust that. Yeah. It's very rare I'll get bowled or LBW.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know, naturally good there. Some players are the opposite. So it's like, we'll actually just wait for the ball to be straight. And that element of patience is something I forever need to be working on.
Yeah. So do you have a natural, like a tactic game plan? You go out to the crease and you're like, okay, I'm playing 30 balls or I'm going to see it in for 5 overs, for example. Or do you go off field like first ball I see it, I'm hitting that straight away?
It's a good question. Probably the biggest thing I'm battling with at the moment. So like half of me wants to go out and literally see ball, hit ball, because that's the simplest way for me and that's what I find. But that gets me into trouble a lot. So it's every coach pulls their hair out, especially my Ringwood coach, about being a bit more patient, giving myself a little bit more time early to get used to the conditions, get the feel and then go. So I can't answer your question. I should be able to. But generally what I've learned this season is you do have to give yourself time because you always get different conditions and you have to give yourself a chance to just settle in and trust that I know I'll score quickly at the back end. So it's that trust element. So half of me wants to go because that's actually me trying to control an outcome. So it comes back to what we spoke about first. Whereas if you let go and just explore, like just be okay. As a general rule, I'm going to give myself a chance here. So if I get a short ball, I'm going to whack it because I'm really good at that. But if I get a ball that's fuller, I'm probably just going to be compact. And if I don't score off it because I'm not strong in that area, that's okay to start with, and then trusting that I will make up at the back end.
Also, your changes depending as well on the state of the game, and when you come in, have you lost quick wickets? Are you coming in to stabilise?
Yeah.
And then versus coming in, you've got to make runs quickly to get the score or up or anything like that as well. No changes. You have to be kind of adaptable.
Yeah. I'm quite lucky in that I generally open the batting. So it's
that's
like it's almost always so it's good and bad. It's almost always the same situation you're walking into, but also that makes it harder because you don't have the game situation to dictate how to play. So for me, I just think too much. And it's like, well, whereas the odd time I've batted middle order, it's like, okay, this is what does the game need from me? This, I'm going to do it. So it's a lot simpler. But like both have their pros and cons. Like it's just more experience and the better you get at actually